to make me believe it. And tell me you gon' love me. You gon' hold me down when it's over. And show me you gon' hold me. You gon' hold me down when it's over. Hello! I have a story for y'all. You already saw the title. We about to get into it. First of all, I don't even know where to start. I guess I'm gonna have like a story in two for y'all. So, let's go back a little bit. What is today? Oh, damn, my calendar's not up. So today is Thursday, February 1st. Yes, I recorded this and put it up the same day. We on the grind. Anyway, so Monday, I was at work. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm a barista. I'm not gonna say where I work, but I'm a barista. So our store closes at 3 o'clock. It's like 2:51 or something. So at the end of every shift, I do the final wipe down of all the counters and then we out. So as I'm sitting there wiping down the counters, Shorty, she kind of ran up on me for real. So like I'm wiping the counters, I hear like the way she approached me, I hear like a little too close. So I was about to, hit her with the elbow. I was like, hold on, I might be at work, but don't run up on me, okay? So I look and it's this black woman and she's with an Asian woman. This is important to remember. So the Asian woman's just standing there not saying nothing. The black girl is saying everything. And she's like, so if anybody said that God is a woman, would you believe it? So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because we don't know what God looks like. But at the same time, in the Bible, they do say he. She continues to talk. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was kind of tuning her out. Like, I was about to get off work. I did not really care what she was saying. And she keeps going and going. And then she's like, oh, so what school do you go to? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I go to Temple University. She's like, oh, we do Bible studies that are close to Temple and all that. So I'm like, okay. Because I have been wanting to start going to church again. Like, I pray every day, all that, but I do want to start going to church more in Bible studies and all that. So I was like, okay, maybe this is like God throwing this in my face. Like, all right, like, you keep saying you're going to do it. So now I'm about to have somebody in your face, not forcing, but pushing you more to do it. So she's like, oh, can I get your contact information? And I was like, yeah, you can take my number, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, do you have like 10 or 15 minutes when you get off work to talk? I had 10, 15 minutes, but not for her. I was like, honestly, I have some errands to run when I get off of work. She said, okay, that's fine. I'll just text you. We have a Bible study coming up on Wednesday at 7. Okay, that's it. Finish wiping the counters, get my stuff, go about my day. So I was off on Tuesday. I picked up a shift yesterday on Wednesday. This is where it goes down. So the other story that comes in, so I checked the schedule and we're not going to say this person's name. I probably shouldn't even be talking about this, but I've been ready to tell a story time for y'all. So boom, we got 2. I don't care. So we're gonna call this person Jacob, because that's not even close to his name. So we're gonna call him Jacob. So I look at the schedule and I see Jacob, and there's only 4 people at my store. So I'm like, who is this? So I get there and my store manager, I'm talking to her and I'm like, oh, like, where's Jacob? I saw he was on the schedule. I didn't even know who that was for real. And she was like, oh, that's the SCEO from PAC. SCEO is a student CEO. They're basically just a store manager. They make the title fancy. I don't know. So I was like, oh, that's who that is. And then she was like, yeah, also, so-and-so, we're not going to say, from HR emailed you because she wanted to get your story about Jacob because they're investigating and they're trying to fire him. So I was like, oh, child. But we're going to skip over that for a second. We're going to get back to Jacob. But now, let's go back to Shorty. So I go to work, go about my day, I come home. My friend, I don't know if she wants her name, so I just disguise names anyway. So we're gonna call my friend, we're gonna call her Stacy. So I get home, Stacy called me about like a week ago. I was kind of going through it, I wasn't really in the mood to talk. So I thought about her, so we FaceTime Stacy. I told her about that, we're talking and all that. So I get a call from a number, and before this, I was trying to make a doctor's appointment. So I was like, okay, maybe this is the doctor calling me back. So I was like, give me a second, Stacy. So I hang up, I answer. And they're like, oh, Adia, we cannot wait to see you. Like, are you still meeting with us at 7 o'clock? At this point, it's like 6:33. I won't even forget. 6:33, I looked at the clock. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I forgot about it. I was like, but I'm on my way right now. And she's like, oh, well, that's okay. Like, do you want us to come pick you up? We can come pick you up. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm used to walking everywhere. I'll just meet you up there. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, can't wait to meet you, Click. Okay, whatever. I call Stacy back. I tell her the conversation. And she's like, So I tell her the story of me meeting the girl. And she was like, hold on. She's like, I'm seeing a couple red flags. And I said, oh, what you mean? And she was like, my cousin kind of went through a situation like this where they was trying to get her. I said, huh? So she was like, yeah, something don't sound right. And she said, especially like this God is a woman thing, like what's going on? So I checked the address, because at this point, like, I'm getting dressed, I'm ready to go outside. I'm like, listen, we about to talk about my bestie God, like, what's up? I checked the address, because she said this was at a church. So I checked the address, and it's an apartment. And I recognize this apartment because I've walked past it multiple times. I knew the street, all that. So I'm like, hold on, Stacy. I'm about to press her. I said, let me call you back. Click. So I call her back, and I'm like, okay, well, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I said, but I looked at the address, and it shows that's for an apartment. And she's like, oh, you're mistaken. It's not an apartment, da-da-da. And I said, well, how many people are there? Like, can you, like, put on speaker so I can hear them? She's like, this isn't a Zoom meeting. Yeah, I know, I'm not dumb. I was like, yeah, I understand. So again, can you put it on speaker so I can hear everybody say like, hi, what's up? Cause now I'm already on edge because Stacy already put me on. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not there yet. I said, you told me you was already there. Well, I'm in the car. I said, exactly. So you can get out the car and go inside. She's like, Adia, I don't see what the issue is, da-da-da. Like, this isn't even an apartment. This is a church. Y'all, God, please forgive me. I got tight, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I was tight. I said, quit playing with me. I said, I checked the address. I saw it. I said, why are you keep trying to lie? She keeps talking. At this point, click. I'm done. So I called Stacy back. I told her a situation, and she's like, yeah, nah. So we get into it more, and so now I'm texting her. I'm like, if I call her again, I'm really gonna cuss her out. So I'm texting her, and I'm like, so like, if you say this is a church, what's the name of the church? Church of God. Y'all. I put Church of God in Google Maps. You know how many churches of gods there are in Philly? So I said, okay, you have to be more specific. So I wrote this down because like, I'm not going to put no screenshots of the messages or anything, and you're going to see why later. So I made some notes from the text messages, and so she finally said, World Mission Society, Church of God. Stacy puts that into Reddit. Y'all. They said, basically, this is a cult. When you finally get there, they try to force you to get baptized. All of that. They try to force people to like live in these houses. They send some people to be sex trafficked, like all of this. And the stories were like correlating too much to my situation. Like they come and approach you talking about God is a woman, try to get you to come to the Bible studies. And then the Asian woman I talked about, and the stories, like I said she was Asian because I didn't actually know what she was. And in the stories, they kept talking about a Korean lady. So I'm like, oh yeah, no. So at this point, I'm like, I'm on FaceTime with Stacy, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to add my mom to the call. So I add my mom, we break everything down to her. And we get to talking more and more about it. And like, I was just like, you know, this actually really hurts my heart. Like, I love God. Like, I've been trying to go to the church, and the fact that these girls use God to do something evil, allegedly, disgusts me. So we get to talking more, and at this point, my mom was like, I think you should file a police report. And I said, you're right. So I look up a couple numbers, try to call. I called Temple, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, no shade to 12, but I've seen multiple Philadelphia officers not do anything, basically. They close mad cases when they don't get solved. But when something happens with a Temple student, you go to Temple Police, I will say they handle it pretty well. Like, I've known people that went there, they got their situations dealt with, all that. I've been in there before, all that. So I was like, all right, so I call Temple. They basically tell me, like, you have to come down here to file your police report. So Stacy and my mom is still on the phone. I have my AirPod in. And my mom, she ended up going to sleep early because she had work. So Stacy's still on the phone with me, and I'm in the station, like, I'm just waiting. First of all, let's start with Shorty at the front desk. Her. She's ignorant as hell. Didn't like her attitude. Then, finally, someone comes. Homie, I'm trying to talk to him. I said, okay, long story short. He said, okay, well, I'm trying to get the short version. I said, like I said, long story short. He said, we'll make it shorter. So I was like, okay, well, basically, I feel like people are trying to lure in college students from Temple and trying to sex traffic them. So I go into a little bit more detail. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have other officers come and take your report. So why did I waste my breath talking to you? So I'm sitting there for another good, like, 10, 15 minutes. And finally, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what's taking so long. Like, I feel like what I'm saying, nobody's taking seriously. Like, I'm kind of getting upset. And he's like, well, you can leave then. I was like, excuse me? I was like, I'm literally coming up here to file a report. And I'm getting impatient because I don't feel heard. And I'm telling you that in my eyes, this is an emergency because I don't know who else was meeting up with that lady. And then you're gonna tell me, oh, well, you can leave then? No. So finally, like, Stacy's in my ear. She's like, yo, just calm down. Just sit down. I was like, okay. So finally, 2 black cops come in. I said, thank you. I finally give my report to the 2 black officers. They listened. They took me seriously. Took everything that I said into account, listened to all the details, didn't cut me off. None of that unless they had a question because they actually cared. So yeah, I ended up walking back home, ate me some food, and went to sleep. So now, like I said, today is Thursday. This all happened last night. Now we're gonna go back to Jacob. So I was trying to talk to the HR lady yesterday, and I wasn't able to talk to her until today. So I ended up talking to her on the phone today, breaking down everything. So basically, I want to say this was probably like last month. I was at work by myself, like 4 hours working, closed the store up, everything. And I'm sitting there, and so kind of like where my store, like, so let's say like this is the setup. The register is here, and then like over here is like the bar where we make all our drinks, the espresso machine, all that. So as I'm sitting there making a drink for another customer, this guy comes up to me, and he kind of just like, hi, how are you? And I'm just like, hi, I'm doing good, how are you? Like, do you need anything? And then he just starts chatting. To this day, y'all, I'm gonna keep it a bean. Like, I have good memory, but if you're talking to me and I really don't care what you're saying, bro, like, I just tune you out. I'm not gonna lie, I just tune you out. I'll just give you a couple nods like I'm listening. I'm not listening. Not at all. But in the midst of the conversation, I remember him saying like, oh yeah, I work at 2, da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, cause at this point, I handed the drink to the customer, so it's me and him. That's it. Nobody else. Security is usually, because when you first walk into the mall, that's where I work. Oh shit, I said my job. I gotta cut that out. But so when you first walk into the mall, where I work is right there. And security, they usually stay at the entrance. There's no security this day either. So he's talking to me at this point, like I'm just walking around trying to like wipe stuff down, get stuff together, like honestly just trying to avoid him. And everywhere I move behind the counter, he moves and he just keeps on talking. So at one point, like he ends up just grabbing like a Pepsi. And he was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this. And I'm like, okay. Ring him up. He's like, all right, well, I hope to see you again. And he leaves. And I'm like, yeah, have a good one. Because in my head, I was like, I never want to see you again. Fast forward, one day I'm at work and a higher up, she comes and talks to me basically saying like my location that I work at doesn't make as much money as the other ones. So labor wise, they might start cutting down like how many people are on a shift, not hours. But so she said like, for example, you might open with somebody and then they'll leave and you'll close or vice versa. And I was like, okay, I have no issue with that because I worked by myself before. And she said, okay, well, we have an SCEO from another location that is happy to come and help you guys out if you need anything. Fast forward, we're standing there and off rip, I see Jacob. I knew who it was. He looked at me, I looked at him. He had a smile on his face, I did not. I was about to say her name, damn. She comes over and she's like, oh, Adia, this is the SCEO I was telling you about. I didn't even say anything. I looked at her, I looked at him, I didn't say anything. And he's like, yeah, I've met her before. We've met. I still didn't say nothing. And then she was like, yeah, so like whenever Jacob comes here, like he doesn't have to pay for his drinks or anything, da da da. So I'm like, okay, I didn't say ignorant, I promise. I was like, okay, so what would you like? He tells me what he wants in his coffee, yada yada. As I'm making his drink, remember my back is turned, like my body language, I'm letting you know I don't with you. And he just keeps talking and he's all like, yeah, I remember the last time I was here, you charged me full price for my coffee. Y'all remember, he got a can of Pepsi. So I don't know like what's going on up here, but I guess we're making up stories now. So I make his drink, boom. He's talking to the higher up and my store manager for about 30 minutes. Me and this other girl are working, taking orders, making drinks. I'm over there, I'm not even going over there. The minute he leaves, they both run up on me. They're like, what happened? What happened? They're like, I could just tell. So I ended up breaking down the whole thing to them. And they were like, yeah, like we have heard some things about him. Like he goes to like multiple. So they say, yeah, like he goes to multiple locations and, you know, he talks to workers. We've heard things like, I don't know how far it's went with other people, like me talking that, like, I don't know how far he's went with other people, but like, I just looked at it like, okay, like go about your day. Like I felt uncomfortable, yes, but not to a point where I really felt like I had a report or anything. But then whenever I found out about everything else, I was like, damn. And the higher up, she told me, she was like, I didn't expect him like to come in here. Ironically, when we were all here, she said, because I already had to have that conversation with him. So seeing him kind of threw me off. And I was like, damn. So fast forward, yesterday when I was at work, my store manager said like the HR lady, they're trying to get everybody's story because they're trying to pack him up. They try and get him up out of there. So this morning I did talk to Shorty. I told her the story. I'm a comedian, so she was kind of giggling on the phone when I was telling the story because it was like, to me, it wasn't that serious, but I did say afterwards, I was like, I'm glad that I'm able to at least like tell my side of the story because he could have done worse at other locations. It's like, even just sharing like my little experience, if it helps like get him up out of here so other people aren't uncomfortable or anything else, then I'm glad to help. So that is my story time, guys. I see we're almost at 20 minutes. Hopefully I can cut this down a little bit because Nowadays with TikTok, people's attention spans are not there no more. But if you made it all the way through, I appreciate you guys listening to my story. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. If you're new here, my name is adia.eilam, and it's been a minute, y'all. But damn, how I even do my outro? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell so you can be notified when I post new videos. I love y'all so much, and thank you for tuning back into the channel. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe, okay? Anyways, I thank y'all so much for being back here once again. Next video, I'm gonna stop telling y'all I'm gonna be back next week because I don't want to keep lying to y'all. But we have new projects in the works. I do have clips from certain events and all that I've been to, and right now I don't have enough to really like put it together and make a full video. I want to get a couple more clips before I do that, but new music is on the way. It is taking longer than I thought, but new music is on the way. Hopefully I can at least give y'all a sneak peek. Hopefully I can give y'all a sneak peek soon. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all soon. Peace. Test of my love, boy. Why you do this to me? Didn't know I'd be so fucked up. I don't